Hello, friends. It's Molly with Soul School Tarot and Astrology, and I've got for you guys today a little bit of a channeled message that's trying to come through. And this is something, it's a topic that I've been in conversation with my guides on for at least the past week or so. And as I'm getting clearer and clearer on the message that's coming through, I do think it has a lot to do with the grand conjunction that's going to be coming up on December 21st. That's between the planets Jupiter and Saturn. And the fact that they're in the sign of Aquarius. So there's definitely going to be an astrological, just once I kind of get that message pinned down, there's going to be like an astro forecast and a reading that'll go along with this. But for now, welcome, you guys. I just want to get out to you today a little bit of this message that's been coming in about manifestation. For those of us who are conscious creators of our own reality, we're going to be noticing the upcoming shifts, the shift that's coming in with the closing of the eclipse portal on December 14th, the coming of the solstice, the great conjunction. We're going to be feeling that shift a lot differently than people who are just kind of going about their lives unconsciously participating in whatever created reality they are presented with. So basically, there's going to be a change in the way in which we manifest, the way in which we bring things into being. And that shift is going to feel a little uncomfortable for a while. The visual that Spirit gives me with it is, I guess it's kind of hard to explain what the exact meaning of this is, but it's a significant image, so I'll share it with you. It's almost as if we're all in a room, okay? When I say we, I'm talking about conscious creators, people who set intentions, maybe use the law of attraction, but those who are trying to actively manifest their own reality and who realize that we've got the ability to do that. All right. So let's say we're all kind of hanging out in a room and it looks like, I want to call it like mission control, right? Something you see in like old movies where there's like a space mission and then like back home there's that room with all the computers and all the people who are supporting the mission. I don't know, it's kind of like that, but it's much more loungy, like cafe vibes. All right, so we're in there and we're all essentially going about the work of manifesting our own reality, and we have learned how to work with the limitations that exist in the 3D world, the third density world. All right. I want to talk today about densities rather than dimensions. And this might lose some of you guys, but there's a lot of talk about jumping to 5D. Fifth dimension to me is that place where spirit resides. Okay. But when we talk about densities rather than dimension, I do believe that there's something about the fabric of our reality that is fundamentally changing. We're moving from a third density into a fourth density in existence. And in this reality, some of the bigger changes are a more fluid and cyclical understanding of time. And it's just going to become so much easier to release what a lot of people who talk about manifestation and the law of attraction refer to as resistance, right? So the idea is all we really need to do is imagine our reality and then remove our resistance to allowing it to happen. Something about that's going to get to be a lot easier, okay? And in fact, the message I think that's coming through, because the visual that I get is we're all hanging out in like mission control, this like control room. And we're all just kind of living our lives, you know, we're manifesting things. And all of a sudden, in concert with the grand conjunction, great conjunction, I keep calling it both things, but the conjunction between Jupiter and Pluto on December 21st in the first degree of Aquarius, it's almost like now it feels like we're on a spaceship. I don't know. Just follow me. Somebody flips a switch and all of a sudden there's no gravity in that room. Like it's just gone. Like we are no longer restricted by that particular law of physics. Obviously, it's a metaphor, right? Like it's not just going to become an anti-gravity reality on December 21st. But there is some sort of, it's an analogy for the shift that will be taking place. And the bottom line is, like I said, if imagine if that happened, if all of a sudden we were in anti-gravity, we would be like, whoa, what is happening? It's going to take us a moment to adjust to our new environment and to understand the ways in which we move, the way in which things are moving around us. But gravity is a form of resistance. Right? So imagine a lot of resistance to our ability to manifest, attract, and create our own reality is going to be lifted. Now, that's true for those who work with the darkness as well as those who work with the light, even those who do so unconsciously. So there are people out there who are consciously creating dark realities. They're consciously creating realities that seek to hide the truth, that seek to hide knowledge about our powers and abilities and about the greater cosmic truth that exists in the world. Those things are out there. There are also just weak people who that's where they find their strength is in the darkness, all right? The more we focus energy on them, the more it pulls us away from the light. So I just want to go ahead and say that much, all right? There are also people who are, let me just say this, we are always participating in somebody's constructed reality. Those of us who are conscious creators realize that, and so we started building our own to participate in. We started shaping our own reality so it was a better reflection of our inner selves, all right? There's still a lot of people out there who would like to evolve, but they don't realize that they are unconsciously participating in somebody else's constructed reality, and they can replicate and perpetuate that reality. So these are the unconscious creators, all right? We're all always participating in a created reality, but we're also constantly creating a reality. So if we're not conscious about the fact that we're participating in the creation of a reality, then we end up helping somebody else construct theirs, right? We help end up perpetuating a reality that was not built by us or for us, but it happens very, very unconsciously. Those, I believe, that the collective that I'm talking to, those are the ones that you're going to have to look out for, all right? I'm not saying let's abandon all of our unconscious friends, but just be aware of the effect that that has on you. And I've got the message. I actually have a typed up message that I haven't even gotten into yet that is going to help me explain why that is so important at this time. In fact, I paused real quick to go ahead and pull up this passage from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth that I really want to share right now to get across the message that I'm talking about, that there's a difference between people who actively attempt to perpetuate darkness and then people who unconsciously perpetuate darkness because they haven't faced off against the darkness within themselves, all right? Those of us who are perpetuators of light, you know how we got here. Light workers, you know how we got here. You don't, I mean, I'm not going to speak for other people. For me, and I am an older, I want to say like a mid-generation light worker. I'm 40 years old. There's a lot of people out, young people on the planet right now who I think have a natural alignment with the light. All right. For some reason, when they're born into this world with this socially constructed reality that is essentially made of darkness, it's meant to keep us in the dark and in the shadow, they are almost immune to that. But for those of us who are a little older, right, we were born into a socially constructed reality that was built out of darkness. And in order for us to step into our light, we've had to face off against that at some point in our path. Hero's journey stuff right there, okay? But there's still that group in between, right? There are people who are actively fighting for the darkness, people, and consciously. And then there are people who are actively fighting for the light. And then there are those who are in between. And as much as they might have light in their heart, they're not conscious of the way in which they're still perpetuating darkness. So Thoth says here, a depths has there been filled with the blackness, struggling always against the light. That's the people who are intentionally creating the darkness. Okay. It's just, we got to realize that they're out there. I don't like to focus on it, but they're out there. All right. He said, but others there are who, filled with brightness, have never conquered the darkness of night. Wherever you may be in all ages and planes, surely you will know of the battle with the night. So what this is saying is, once you become aware of the darkness, it's almost like, I know that I had some sort of activation within me probably within the last 6 to 9 months, where all of a sudden I could see where people stood in the battle. I could see who was actively perpetuating light, who was actively perpetuating darkness, and then who was unconsciously perpetuating darkness. And I had to start moving away from a lot of people who are unconsciously perpetuating darkness, because it pulls me away from my light. If you guys are interested in reading up more about this in the Emerald Tablets, it's tablet 6, and you can find this on the internet, crystallinks.com. I might go ahead and link it down below. This is an ancient text that just really, really speaks to me in a significant way. So I added into my constructed reality rather than allowing it to be my constructed reality. Y'all see what I mean? That's the importance of any text we are reading. Don't just adopt anybody else's created reality as your own. Weave it into the fabric of the reality that you are choosing to create. So before I get too far off on a tangent, here is the message. I'm just going to read it as I've typed it up. And the title of it is Creative Autonomy. Creative Sovereignty is actually probably a better title. I talk a lot about energetic sovereignty, spiritual sovereignty, which is basically allowing yourself to be the master, the maker, and the creator of your own vibration. That's what that is. All right. So, like I said before, we're always participating in somebody's created reality, and most people are unconsciously doing so. The public collective consciousness, that social narrative that we're born into, that's always there for you, right? It's like a default. The public collective consciousness provides a creative reality that's easy, and for a lot of people, it even just feels natural to participate in. So for instance, a part of this collective consciousness might be, for instance, the idea of sin, or of the idea that there's a God out there that wants to judge us and punish us for things we did wrong, even after we learned our lessons, right? Even within the idea of karma, there is a collective narrative there of this eye for an eye it's not accurate. It's not of the light, and therefore it is of the darkness, all right? So if you just want to wander through life unconsciously, not intentionally creating a reality, the public collective consciousness has got one for you. It's made up of the mainstream media, education, religion, society, and its purpose, again, is to construct a reality that disempowers you. So even those of us who are conscious creators, we set intentions, we use law of attractions, we actively are manifesting our own reality. We're aware that the public is creating a reality for us, and we're choosing to reject that. But we can often forget how often the people that we relate to are participating unconsciously in other smaller created realities or manufactured realities. So this can exist in the form of false narratives, distorted value systems. Maybe you have a friend and it feels like they're judging you for how you're going down your spiritual path or decisions that you're making in your life. All right. There's an example of one way that somebody's unconsciously created or perpetuated reality can interfere with your energy and the reality that you are trying to create for yourself. So this person, and let's say, for example, because if you're on that spiritual path, we probably all have one of these. Somebody in our life who's looking at us and saying, you've changed, and they're criticizing you for that or admonishing you for that, all right? And the reason why we know for a lot of these people, what's really going on is underneath, they're afraid that if you change, they're going to lose you unless they also change. And change is scary, right? So the idea that there's something negative about your new way of being, that's the false reality that they are attempting to create. All right. And unconsciously, they know it's false. They manufactured it and then they want to sell it to you, get you to buy it so that then you can validate that. But you don't have to do this. In fact, some of us are unconsciously buying into that. And like, for instance, by spending time thinking about it, by spending time allowing their projection to, now they're showing me, they're showing me R2-D2 when he's shooting out that little holographic message of Princess Leia, like, help us, Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? That's what I'm talking about with as a projection. Okay. We're all projecting our realities all over the place. When somebody else projects something on you, if you validate that, it's almost as if Princess Leia comes into physical form and now she exists in that reality, right? So it's like allowing somebody else's projection of you to solidify. The more time you spend on that, the more likely it is to solidify. And now you've got this new issue in your reality that you've got to be able to work out, all right? So the more time that you spend engaging with or debating or defending yourself, struggling against that false reality, the more you're inadvertently contributing to it. And the more you're inadvertently giving away your power to create your own reality or to hold together the reality you've created for yourself. Now, I talked about that as a manufactured reality, a reality that's based on fear. Okay. Somebody's saying to you, you've changed and I don't like it, blah, blah, blah. When you know your organic, your true reality that you have allowed to grow and develop within you is that the changes that you're undergoing are bringing you more into alignment with yourself, right? So the more you focus on the self that you're becoming, the more power you're giving to the self that you're becoming. Okay, so when we turn away from that manufactured reality and focus on our organically created reality, this process, just being aware of that, is going to be an essential tool for manifesting in the coming, I wrote years, but Spirit wants me to say in the coming era. All right? So be mindful that your thoughts are centered on your own truth. If something challenges that truth, and in fact, I just did a reading for my Cancer Capricorn reading, is about somebody whose character got called into question, and it forced them to look within and call their own character into question. And through that process, they purified their perception. And we're like, yep, I can reject those false narratives and spend more time focusing on my own. That's an example of integrating something that challenges your truth. So if somebody comes at you with a false narrative, there's a moment that we should take to learn what is the universe trying to teach us by bringing this situation into our line of awareness? Or another way of thinking of it is, how is that situation mirroring us? What's going on within us that is in alignment or that attracted that false narrative? Because there's usually something to be learned from it. But then once you learn that, you take it, you integrate it, right? They're showing me the Temperance card, taking what you knew before with what you've just learned and blending them together so that you can move forward and act in this new way, or move forward with this new truth, or even move forward and heal old ways of being. So there's that moment that we should take to understand, why is this in front of me? What can I learn from it? How can I use this to accentuate or clarify my own organic truth? And then you must release it. Okay. The final sense I have here, and I think is the most important message, the way to sum it up, is the more time you spend defending yourself from truths that you do not hold, the less time you spend standing in your own truth. And in this coming era, standing in your own truth is the bulk of the work that's needed in order to manifest your desired organic reality. Okay? Just standing in your truth turns you into a magnet for everything in the universe that reflects that truth. So, I hope it was helpful to you guys today. It was really, really great just to be able to deliver this message. So thanks to those of you who stuck around. Check out the description box if you guys want to hit me up for a reading, or just follow me on social media. Check out the Starseed Collective if some of the stuff in this resonated. You know what I'm talking about. If not, I'm not worried about it. But thank you guys once again for spending this time with me today. My messengers would like to thank you as well. All right, take real good care of yourselves. I'm going to see you on the other side of this switch that gets flipped. I'm excited. Take care.